All rise.
The Kosovo Specialist Chambers is now in session.
Be seated, please. Madam Court Officer, please, or Mr. Court Officer, please call the case.
Good morning, Your Honors. This is the file number case CBC 2020-06, the Specialist Prosecutor versus Hashim Thaçi, Kadri Veseli, Recep Selimi, and Yakub Persnici. Thank you very much.
I note that all the accused are present in court today. Before the witness is brought in, the panel will issue 2 oral orders. First, the panel will issue orders in relation to Rule 153 decision in F02779. The panel recalls that on 13 December 2024, the prosecution requested to assign an exhibit number to 061011-TR-AT, Part 2, Red 2, which is Part 2 of the Albanian transcript of W04394's SPO interview, admitted by the panel pursuant to Rule 153 and Decision F02779. The prosecution submits that the transcript has not yet been assigned an exhibit number due to an administrative error in the Rule 153 motion. Excuse me. The panel observes that W04394 SPO's interview, including any translations thereof, was admitted into evidence pursuant to Rule 153. I am referring to F02779, paragraph 83C. The prosecution proposes to assign 061011-TR-AT, Part 1, Red 2, exhibit number P01930.1 AT and 061011-TR-AT, Part 2, Red 2, exhibit number P01930.2 AT. Any objections from the defense? None is heard. The panel approves the SPO request and instructs the registry to assign item 061011-TR-AT Part 1 Red 2 exhibit number P01930.1 AT and item 061011-TR-AT Part 2 Red 2 exhibit number P1930.2 AT. This concludes the first oral order. There's another housekeeping matter that the panel would like to address in relation to decision F02779. Mr. Court Officer, please bring us into private session.
Your Honor, to be in public session. Thank you.
We will now start hearing the evidence of prosecution witness W04745. Madam Court Usher, please bring the witness in.
Your Honor, while the witness is being brought in, may I raise the issue that was sent by email at the end of last week regarding WO2677? If there is any indication regarding whether the panel accept the proposal from the defense that we agreed to.
I'll get back to you on that. Thank you. Good morning, witness.
Good morning to you. Greetings to you. Yes, I can.
We are now ready to start your testimony. The usher will provide you with the text of the solemn declaration that you are asked to take pursuant to our Rule 141, Paragraph 2. So look at the document and then read it aloud.
Më falni, unë dëshiroj një përshëndetje.
First of all, I would like, with your permission, to greet everyone present here.
Just do as you're told and read that document aloud.
Ndërgjetshëm,
Conscious of the significance of my testimony and my legal responsibility, I solemnly declare that I will tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and that I shall not withhold anything which has come to my knowledge. I swear in the name of my God and your laws if they exist.
Witness, thank you. Witness, I know that you had a request to make a statement, and we don't have any problem with you doing that, but we want you to do it at the end of your testimony so that it doesn't interfere with your testimony in any way. So we will go through your testimony and the cross-examination, and when everyone is finished, if you still want to make a statement, we will give you an opportunity to do that. Do you understand?
e kuptoj, po
I understand, but to the first question that will be put by the prosecutor, I would like to express my concerns in relation to this.
By answering questions only. I've told you at the end of your testimony, if you want to make a statement, we will allow you to do that. But during your direct examination and cross-examination, you are here to just answer the questions that are asked. We don't want you to make statements or questions about what's being asked of you. Leave that to the attorneys, all right?
unë dua të
I want to express my concerns because I have noticed and found irregularities regarding this court. Then I will talk.
Please, I've turned off your microphone because you're not responding. I've turned off your microphone because you were not responding. It's back on now. I'm going to start again. We're going to have questions asked by the prosecution and by the defense, and then when we're finished, you may raise all the questions you want. Do you understand? Those are the court rules.
Mirë, falenderoj.
Thank you. Understood.
Now, witness, today we will start your testimony, which is expected to last approximately 3 days. As you may know, the prosecution will ask you questions first. Thereafter, the defense has the right to ask questions, and members of the panel might also have questions for you. The prosecution estimate for your examination is 6 hours. The defense estimates that it will need approximately 8.5 hours. As regards each estimate, we hope that counsel will be judicious in the use of their time, and that the panel may also allow redirect examination if conditions for it are met. Witness, please try to answer the questions clearly with short sentences. If you don't understand a question, feel free to ask counsel to repeat the question or tell them you don't understand and they will clarify. Also, please try to indicate the basis of your knowledge of facts and circumstances that you will be asked about. In the event you are asked by the SBO to attest to some corrections made regarding any statement you made, you are reminded to confirm on the record that the written statement, as corrected by any list of corrections, accurately reflects your declaration. Please also speak into the microphone and wait 5 seconds before answering a question, and speak at a slow pace for the interpreters to catch up. While you are giving evidence in this court, you are not allowed to discuss with anyone the content of your testimony outside of the courtroom. If any person asks you questions outside of this court about your testimony, please let us know. Please stop talking if I ask you to do so, and also stop talking if you see me raise my hand. These indications mean that I need to give you an instruction. If you feel the need to take a break, let us know. Raise your hand if you need to do that, and we will make an accommodation. We begin first with the questions by the prosecution. They're seated to your left. Please give them your attention and answer the questions. I've explained to you how this is going to happen, sir. Just listen to the questions and answer them.
Zërin edhe pak ngriteni.
If you could turn on the volume a little bit more, because
Can you hear better now?
Po,
Yes.
Madam Prosecutor, you have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor, and good morning, witness. My name is Vega.
Good morning.
I'll be asking you questions on behalf of the SPO. First of all, could you please state your name and surname for the record?
Ismet Tara,
Ismet Tara,
08
8 June 1963.
Your country of nationality.
Jam Kosovar.
I'm Kosovan.
What is your profession?
Profesioni hotelier.
Catering.
Thank you. Were you ever known by a nickname? Do you have a nickname?
Bënë më e qartë,
Can you please be more specific which period of time?
po,
Yes.
Hoxha,
Hoxha.
And did you ever receive military training?
Qartësoje prapë pyetjen.
Clarify your question again.
Ever receive any form of military training? Did you perform military service, or did you ever receive military training?
Kam qenë ushtar
I was a soldier in former Yugoslavia in Sarajevo in 1983-1984.
Now I will start asking you about your first interactions with the KLA. And I reiterate that if you can please listen carefully to my question and provide focused answers. And as you can see, you are speaking through a microphone, so you can speak at a normal tone. We will hear you through the interpretation. So, first of all, when did you officially become a KLA soldier?
zyrtarisht ushtari UÇK
I officially became a KLA soldier sometime mid-May 1998 when the RT unit became public.
Were you supporting the KLA?
Po,
Yes, with all my possibilities.
In practice, you supported it. What did you do to support it?
pas vrasjes së familjes
After the killing of the Yashari family, my people heard of the massacre committed by the Serb criminals who killed an entire family. I, following this, inquired to find ways as soon as possible for me to provide help and support to the KLA.
Help and support did you provide? What did you do?
mendima materiale
Material support, and so until the Mrahovets staff or headquarters, I worked providing and supplying the KLA with material goods.
Which KLA unit did you first support?
në fillim e kam
Initially, I supported the unit in Mrezhal, Pruzhin, and Likos.
Where is that?
kjo është në territorin e
This is in the territory of Drenica.
Did you hear about those KLA units? How did you know that you could go there and help them?
për këtë njësit të UÇK-s kam lip
I received information about these units from Gani Krasniqi from Alisheva.
Who was Gani Krasniqi? Was he connected to the KLA?
Gani Krasniqi
When I asked for him, I actually had known Gani Krasniqi from earlier on when he had been a political prisoner. And I had heard that he had information about KLA groups in Kosovo.
Did you ever find out whether he was a KLA member?
pastaj e kam mësuar
Later, after meeting with him on several occasions, I understood that he was a member of the KLA during the time I was interacting with him.
Unit did he belong?
ky ka qenë
He was in the Malisheva unit which name I did not know when I met with him for the first time.
Po
Yes,
njësit I lumit.
the Lumi unit in Malisheva.
Was the first time that you went to the Drenica area to supply the KLA?
Për herë të parë
The first time was on the 11th, 12th, or 13th of March. I cannot be certain about the date. So it's either 11th, 12th, or 13th March 1998.
You go with
më së pari kam shkuar
I first went there with Geni Krasniqi.
Rezalle, Pluzhin, and Likots. For how long did you supply Rezalle and Pluzhin?
deri në dalje
Until the moment the Drenov staff or headquarters came out.
What about Likots? For how long did you supply Likots?
Rezalla, Likovci dhe
Rezal, Likots, and Plozhin are three villages close to one another. And I was asked to supply aid and goods and support to them.
To supply these goods?
tregova në 3 datë.
I told you the 3 dates when I started, but I first delivered the warehouse in Rezal, then another warehouse in Pluzhin, and at the end in Likovsk.
Thank you. And in Likots, where was this warehouse?
Kjo depo
In Likovsk, the warehouse was immediately on the left-hand side along the road when you get to Likovsk. So there was this warehouse and a bakery for the soldiers.
Other KLA members in Likots?
jo
No,
dhe me
I met with the warehouse keepers and the soldiers who helped unload the goods, but they were mostly civilian clothes.
Members in Likots that you met during your travel, not specifically at the White House, at the warehouse.
ushtarët kur
When I started going there, the soldiers were mostly wearing masks. And during my travel, before I could arrive to Likovsk, there were several points manned by soldiers.
KLA member who didn't have mask, whom you
Ustare.
recognized.
po
Yes, I do remember.
kam parë
I saw my hero, the hero of my nation, of the KLA, Femila Drovci and Jevila Drovci, together in the most difficult points of his soldiers.
And do you know what Femila Drovci's role in the KLA was?
në fillim nuk e kam
At the beginning, I did not know because he was at the point as a simple soldier. Then I understood that he had a role in the KLA.
Was there anyone else that you recognized in Likots or Drenica?
unë ja u thash
I told you that I met with soldiers during my travel, but I did not know them. I was not interested to know them because I was coming from a town where 5,000 Serbs lived there, and that was dangerous to me to inquire and obtain information, or even in their eyes, this would have potentially been suspicious for me to ask more information about the soldiers.
Out the identity of other KLA members you met in Drenica, including after the war.
I learned about their identity, the legends of my nation, during the Rambouillet conference and the delegation that was representing us.
On my question, did you at any point find out the identity of a KLA member that you had met in Drenica? And if so, who?
Yes. I understood about Hashim Thaçi during the Rambouillet talks, but then also after the war and my appointment as a commander, and also when we met in person for the first time during the first year commemorations of the Rahovets battle on the 17th July.
Find out that you had met Hashim Thaçi in Drenica.
Objection, that wasn't what the witness said.
Yo,
Claire, just
No,
Mr. Tara, you just said that you understood about Hashim Thaçi during the Rambouillet talks, but then also when you met in person. What did you understand about Hashim Thaçi when you met him after the war?
when I met him after the war on the 17th of July, he was already officially the Prime Minister of the Provisional Government.
Mr. Tara, my question to you is whether at any point you understood that the identity of those that you met in Drenica in 1998. Was there ever a time where you understood the identity of the KLA members that you met in Drenica? And if so, whom did you meet? Whom did you find out you had met in Drenica?
I did not know the people I met in Drenica, Madam Prosecutor. I came to know them afterwards, when I met with them in person. I explained that I became aware of the fact that Hashim Thaçi was a high representative of the KLA during the Rambouillet negotiations. Then I met with them and understood who they were, but not that I met them or knew about them in Drenica. Am I clear enough?
My question is,
After
Mr. Tara, wait for the question.
Then make your question clearer or change it.
I think the witness is answering the question.
I thought he answered the question too, the way you asked it. So if you have something else to say, you might want to clarify it.
Yes. Mr. Tara, you said...
Yes, please, but speak closer to the mic because I can't hear you very well.
Right. Okay.
Yes?
The volume is as high as it will go.
Okay. Could we maybe ask the interpreter to speak closer to their microphone? Thank you. Mr. Tara, Did anyone ever inform you about the identity of the KLA members that you met in Drenica in 1998?
Jo,
No.
I would like, with Your Honor's leave, I would like to show the witness a prior statement pursuant to Rule 143 to B and C.
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. If we could please have 125903, 125933, PDF page 27. And if we could focus on paragraph 140.
unë dua
Mr.
për
Tara,
timin e Shqip.
Mr. Tara, just wait for my question.
Okay.
I will read out a part of your statement. Here, you're recorded saying, WO4745 indicates that sometime after the war, Hashim Thaçi told WO4745 that he had met him in Drenica in March 1998. However, the witness did not know at the time of that meeting that the person was Hashim Thaçi. Is that a fair reflection of your evidence?
Ky është pasqyrim i
Yes, it is a correct reflection of my statement. But the question, the way you put it, is not correct. You may ask Hashim Thaçi if he met me or not. When I met him after the war, he told me that I saw you, but he didn't reveal his identity.
Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Tara. You've answered the question. Now I'd like to ask you a few more questions about the KLA staff in Malishev. So, first of all, when did you first hear about Malishev staff?
në lidhje me shtabin e UÇK.
Regarding the Malishev staff, I heard during those 3 days that I mentioned. The first day, I traveled with Gani Krasniki to Likos, Luzhin, and Rzhal because we had to pass through that territory.
Paveç që kam parë
I saw soldiers with automatic rifles in Malishev.
Do you know when it was formed?
unë thash që unë
I already said it was for the first time on the 11th, 12th, or 13th of March that I went to Malishev with Gani Krasniki, and it was there that I saw those soldiers, but I didn't know them. I did know Gani Krasniki from 1993-94.
Going there and seeing the soldiers, did you ever actually visit the Malishev staff of the KLA?
pas disa herë
After I went there a few times, and after I met Gani Krasniki, I met him at the store in the center where their units were gathered.
Did you ever visit the headquarters of the Malishev staff?
nuk e dia ka qenë shtaba.
I don't know if it was a staff or it was a group of soldiers, but I said I visited a group of people that I thought, or I took them to be members of the KLA.
Now moving on to the Drenots staff and your knowledge about it. When did you first hear about the Drenots staff of the KLA?
Për shtabin e Drenovcit ka
I heard of it when I was in Likot's staff providing assistance and aid. And then I went to assist the staff in Drenots because it is a staff that belongs to my city, to my municipality.
shumë lehtë.
It was very easy to hear about that. At that time, when the Drenots staff became public, KLA was spread out in many places. This village is only 5 kilometers away from where I lived, and there were many people that I knew who came to Rahovets, my city. So everybody knew about it, not only myself.
When was the first time that you went to the Drenots headquarters? Do you remember?
Her,
I remember that the first time was 2 or 3 days after it emerged.
Do you know more or less when that would have been? Can you give a date, an approximate date?
kjo duhet me qenë
It may have been in April, sometime in April.
Towards the beginning or towards the end of April?
diku prej me
I think it must have been sometime in the middle or end of April, to my recollection, because I didn't write down the dates, never.
Thank you. And who did you meet at the Drenots headquarters?
A do për herën e parë apo
You are asking me about the first time, or you want me to give details about every meeting?
Details about every meeting. I would like to know whom in the staff of Drenots you met.
herën e parë
When I went there for the first time, I was stopped by the soldiers wearing masks. It was about 1 kilometer before you entered Drenots. And they asked me, the soldiers, where I was going. And I told them that I want to provide assistance to the Drenots staff because I am from Rahovets and all my population has contributed to aid for the KLA soldiers.
And where did the soldiers direct you to?
ushtarët
The soldiers called someone in Drenots and they told me that they had to take the permission of their commander to allow me to go there.
You who their commander was?
pastaj unë kam mos
Then I learned, because I met him, it was Jem Gashi.
And did he have a nickname?
po pastaj ma vo
Yes, later on I found out, after I went there a few times, it was Germany, the nickname.
When did you go to the Drenots headquarters?
në shtabin e Drenovcit
Maybe 3 or 4 times, as often as I had collected aid. I had to travel about 10 minutes to this village. Every time I managed to pull some aid, I went there.
Where was the headquarters located?
shtabi në
Initially, they were located in private homes where I met Shem. Then later on, at the exit of Drenots in the direction of Kasanovs, in the direction of Zadrich Mountain. That's where they were based.
Thank you. And in addition to Jem Gashi, who else was in the Drenots staff command, to your knowledge?
pastaj diku ma
Later on, I heard or maybe he came, Mahir Hassani, as the chief of staff.
Anyone else?
Aty jam takuar edhe me njerëz
I met there also with people that I didn't know them to be members of the staff. I met Mansour Zuberi, or 500, Pescinci. When he was there present, when I met the commander Jem Gashi or Mahir Hassani, I realized that he was a person that played an important role in the KLA in Renault's village.
pastaj edhe
Then I met Yusuf Gashi too.
Is that Mensur Ziberai played an important role?
sepse sh-
Because I often saw him talking with the commander, the chief of staff, and I saw that they respected him.
Of Gashi, did you know his role?
nuk e di.
I don't know what role he had, but he was the oldest and very much respected there in that village.
And when did you stop supplying the Drenot staff?
Shtabi Drenocit I kemi ndaluar
I stopped supplying Drenov's village when they went to Rahovets staff.
Was it also known by any other name?
shtabi art
Arti, staff of Rahovets.
Few questions about it. When was the RT staff established?
shtabi arti është kriju
It was established sometime in the middle of May 1998.
po
Yes. Commander Tony, Commander Mitzi, Commander Pictori, and Ismet Tara that is present here in front of you.
Can you please tell us the full names of Tony, Mitzi, and Pictori?
Jalal Haida
Jalal Haida, Tony, Selaidin Mulabazi, Mitzi, and Gazim Amza, Pictori, and Ismet Tara, Albeit Hoja. The one talking to you here.
Thank you. And before joining the RT unit, had any of them been part of any other unit?
të tret këta
These three people were members of Drenot's unit.
What about Tony? Was he also, in addition to the Drenot's unit, was he also a member of any other unit before that time?
po
Yes, he was member of Dukaijin unit led by General Ramush Haradinaj.
The commander of Tony, Mitzi, and Pictori.
ata që I përmendëm
The ones I mentioned earlier, Jem Gashi and Mahir Hassani in Drenot's village.
Tell us why the RT unit was established.
njësiti arti
RT unit was established because during the time of the Renault staff in Rahovets, my city, police forces came and committed crimes, maybe in Croatia and Bosnia, and they put up their base in the hotel. The population was afraid of them, and they asked us to defend them we were in the vicinity of our city to protect our population.
Thank you. Who was the commander of the RT unit?
Комендант
The commander of the RT unit was Celal Haydar Tony.
Zavens комендант ka
Deputy commander was Selaidil Mullaybazi Albeit Mitsi.
Who was the chief of staff?
šef i štab
Chief of staff was Gazim Hamza Painter. Victory.
Did you respect the commanders?
sikur se vëllezëri
We were very close until the end with them.
Something did you comply?
të gjitha brenda mundësive të mia.
As much as I could.
Where was the headquarters of the RT unit?
Shtabi i njësit
The headquarters of the RT unit was at the exit of Rahovec, in the place where even today there are some sheds.
I'm not sure if the translation was completed.
Can you ask the witness, please, what he means by the sheds for the livestock?
Specify exactly where the RT unit was located. Can you repeat it?
dalja
When you leave Rahovec and go in the direction of Drenoc, you can go to Malishev, Drenoc, Bela Tsarka, Zerza. In that cross point, some 2 kilometers on the left-hand side, there is a barn at the end of, at the foot of a mountain.
Barn, what type of livestock barn was it?
stav edhe
It was for the sheep, livestock sheep barn.
How many KLA members did the RT unit have?
për herë të parë
We went there for the first time. We were about 25 soldiers. And then the largest number that the RT staff had in terms of soldiers was about 180 soldiers.
We now please have ERN U0018192 to U0018197 and its English translation. Do you remember seeing this document last week?
e kam parë me ju.
Yes, we saw it together during our preparation session.
Gjigje kam. Këtë
I have something else to say. I saw this document in 1990 during the first interview with the famous group of prosecutors that made me feel worried before being here.
2019?
2019, po.
Yes, 2019.
Now, do you recognize the people on this list? And if you have problem seeing the names, I can read them out for you.
Jo, shumica
Most of them I know.
Which unit did they belong? Those you know.
për njësitin nuk e di mirë.
I don't know the unit they belong to, but Abdullah Bugari's group served initially as protectors of that point of RT staff.
Is this a group part of the RT unit?
Po,
Yes.
And to your knowledge, you mentioned Abdullah Bugari. Was he the leader of the Lahi group?
simbas asaj që unë
According to what I understood, because he was the one responsible for changing the soldiers there. Otherwise, I was the chief of logistics and finance in the RT unit.
To that in a second. Can we move to page 2? Do you, and if we can zoom in a little bit more, so the Albanian version. Do
po
you,
shifet.
I can see them.
you recognize these people, and do you know to which staff they belonged?
Janë persona të
They belong to the RT staff. Tony Mitzik, Zimi, and Commander Hojas at the end after the war.
Please scroll down to the where the commander, yes. And to your knowledge, was Muhedin Isma the leader of the Gensi group?
po,
Yes,
sikur se edhe
like Lahi or Abdullah Bogari, he was responsible for changing the soldiers and protect the command.
Do you recognize these names, and do you know whether they belong to any KLA unit?
shumicën edhe këtyrve ushtarë.
Most of them I do know, even now. There is this Bashkim Messini. He may be there, but I don't remember. But I don't know him as part of the group, of Luani group.
Do you know whether they belong to a KLA staff, and if so, which one?
Shtabit art
RT staff of Rahovets.
And what about these ones? Do you know to which staff they belonged?
janë të shtabit art
They belong to the RT staff of Rahovets.
Please go to the next page. Same question for these names. Do you know to which staff they belonged?
edhe këta janë të
They belong to the RT staff too.
This document.
Any objection to the document?
Yes, Your Honours, we have our consistent objection on these documents which are not those of the witness. The witness can be asked about names perfectly properly, but he's not able to authenticate these particular documents in the form they're in. If there's some particular significance to that, we haven't been put on notice of that. The witness's evidence can be heard on the names, but not on the documents, and therefore the document should not be admitted.
Documents will be admitted. They are properly contextualized. They are part of the, they comply with the prima facie standard, Rule 138, ERN 0018192 to 00018197 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honors. This will be admitted as B02076. It's currently classified as confidential.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, could we please have ERN U0006735 to U0006739? Thank you. Do you remember, and if we could go to the next page in Albanian, please. Thank you. Do you remember seeing this document last week?
Po,
Yes.
And do you recognize the names on this list?
shumicën duhet.
Most of them, yes, but I already told you that I had no connection with the soldiers, but most of the soldiers of the RT staff I used to know, and I know them to this day, but I can't say I know all the soldiers because I didn't have any direct business with the soldiers, being chief of logistics and of finance.
The names that you do recognize on this list, are they members of the RT unit?
Këto janë shënimet të
These are notes made by Sabaudin Sena, my honorable professor, on the day that the soldier came there and registered, taking note of everything related to them, like birth date and so on. So I don't think there may be mistakes there, because I think he took correct note of everything. Most of them I know, as I said, but I cannot testify to each and every one. Maybe I have to look carefully at every entry, but as I said, I know that most of them were soldiers. I have no doubt about the correctness of the note made by the distinguished professor.
Your Honor, I'd like to tender this document into evidence.
Objection. Objection. None. U000635 to U00066739 is admitted.
Thank you, Your Honors. This will be admitted as B02077, classified as confidential. Thank you, Your Honors.
Thank you.
And could we now please have ERN SPOE 00227429 to SPOE 00227430. Do you remember seeing this document?
Tărită-te-l pak.
Can you please zoom in a little bit?
Right side for now of the page in Albanian so that you can see.
Qartë, vetëm.
No, it's fine.
And if we could scroll down a little bit so that the entire page in Albanian is shown. Thank you. Do you
That's fine.
do you recall seeing this document last week?
Po,
Yes.
This document is a note about Aslan Klečka
po,
Yes.
Arti, and that he was under the control of our forces. Do you remember discussing this issue with anyone in the RT unit?
profesori më ka lajmëruar
The professor informed me about this document, but I was not present when this was prepared. We discussed the matter, though.
The professor tell you?
profesori
The professor told me that he needed information about Aslan Klečka because somebody in the staff had some suspicions as to his enrollment in the KLA.
Why did someone have some suspicion?
unë nuk e di,
I don't know why, but I thought perhaps he might have acquaintances amongst the police force or Serbs in Rahovec. This was only my opinion, what I thought.
If we can please go to the next page. And on this page it is stated that his children were part of the KLA. To your knowledge, were Aslan Klečka's sons part of the KLA?
po,
Yes,
And do you see the names at the bottom, Sabadin Cena and Ismet Tara?
po,
yes,
Sir, is that Sabadin Cena?
po,
yes.
Do you know why this document was addressed to Likots?
unë nuk e kam di,
I did not know, and to this day I do not know whether it was sent somewhere or, and if so, where. So I don't know even today.
Whether you knew why we can see Likots written there, do you know? Independently from whether it
se
was
janë
sent.
shkruar atë, ka qenë dashur ta pyesni,
You should have asked this question to Professor Saboydin Sen about this while he was still alive and interviewed by your office because he prepared this document.
I'm asking you now.
jo,
No,
Can we please, do you remember me asking you this question during the preparation session last week?
po,
yes,
Do you remember the answer that you gave me in relation to this document being addressed to Likots?
po,
yes. I told you that I had been informed about this document. I was aware of it and that I did not know what happened to it any further, if and where was it sent to. I'm giving you the same answer today. or make perhaps your question more specific. Rephrase your question so I can understand better.
To show the witness a prior statement pursuant to Rule 143(2).
Yes, go ahead.
Could we please have 125903 to 125933, PDF page 23? If we could focus on paragraph 127. Here you are recorded saying the letter was addressed to Likovs because the main staff of the KLA was there. At that time, 17 July 98, everyone would have known this. Is that an accurate reflection of your evidence?
Jo,
No. I was asked about the name Sula, which is there. And I answered saying that I knew the person who went by the name Sula.
Right now, what I would like to know is if what you are recorded saying in relation to the letter being addressed to Likovs is correct. And what you are recorded saying is because the main staff, the letter was addressed to Likovs because the main staff of the KLA was there. Is that an accurate reflection of your evidence?
jo,
No, that's not correct. I know this was prepared and meant for someone, but I do not know that. However, I said that at the time it was known that there was a staff in Likos, but I did not say this went or was sent to the Likos staff. Let's make it clear, because I need to make this clear for the court. The questions I was asked in 2019, the interpretation, the translation was very confusing, and I had to make a number of corrections and changes with the prosecutor. The interpretation did not match at all my answers in Albanian during that interview. So please don't put me through the same thing as you did in 2019. I tell the truth, I have told the truth and only the truth, and my answers will always be straightforward and correct. I did not say that.
That's very clear. It's recorded. Thank you. Your Honor.
Ma'am, we're going to take a short
Yeah.
break. We'll give you a 10-minute break, witness, and then we'll come back to the courtroom and continue.
unë kam një
I have a request for you, Your Honor. I have a request before I leave the courtroom. I would like the court to show me the document in which I have raised my suspicions and doubts regarding my interviews with investigators and prosecutors in 2019. Otherwise, from this moment onwards, I will...
We're not going to do this today. Today, you're going to answer questions.
atë
We'll give you time after you're finished to make a statement. Please leave the courtroom right now. We're taking a 10-minute break.
unë nuk do të flas
From this moment onward, I will not say a word. You can ask whatever question. If that moment about which I raised my concerns, which endangered my life and that of my relatives, in which I was described as a traitor to my nation, as a traitor to the KLA, as a traitor to the martyrs of my nation, and all those slaughtered civilians and deported from the country. Before clearing the name of Commander Hoxha with respect to the document, I will not give any further statement. I will give no further answers unless the document is reviewed. I don't know if you can hear me or not, but I'm letting you know that I will not answer to any questions any further.
We're adjourned for 10 minutes.
All rise. All rise.
Be seated, please. Madam Usher, please bring the witness in. Can you hear me all right, Mr. Tara? Can you hear me okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
I want you to understand that we know what document you're talking about, and we know that you have things you want to say about it, and the prosecution will present it to you at some point, but she has to get to that point first. We ask you to be patient. You're here as a witness, you're here to answer questions, and you're under an obligation to answer and to tell the truth. But when we get to that question, that document, if you want to be in private session so that only those people in this room can hear the questions and answers, we can accommodate that for your protection or the protection of your family if you think that's important. But we do want to continue and let you have an opportunity to see that document when the proper time comes. I'm not sure when that will be today, but it will happen. Can we please go ahead now with your understanding?
No, I will not answer any questions until the review of that document is done in public session, open session, because I want the civilians, my relatives, my friends, my comrades to hear all this. I will not say anything, Your Honor. I have given my answers to the prosecution.
It's your option. If you want to be in public session, that's perfectly all right. We have no problem with that. I was merely giving you an option. Now, we do have to proceed. You will be ordered to answer the questions. Do you understand? You don't have the option.
I have given my answers, Your Honor, to the prosecutor. and I have given my answers in 2019 to all those investigators in front of me, and I stand by those. But I will not speak before this document is reviewed.
Heard this. We weren't at those meetings. This has to come to us. We have to hear you answer and explain. If you want to explain, you'll be able to explain. But we have to hear that from you. We are not going to rely on something else that happened years ago. We want to hear from you now. Do you understand? It's important to us to understand what your position is.
Ju do të ndëgjoni të
You will receive all my answers, but after reviewing this concern of mine, which is vital to me, which threatened my honor, the honor of my family, I will give all the answers to any questions after this concern is addressed.
Prosecution wish to proceed.
Your Honor, I can give my word to the witness that we will show him that document in due course, but right now I'd like to proceed in an order that's chronological. So I would like to proceed as we were going ahead, but he has my word that I will show him the document and give him ample opportunity to comment on it.
She's trying to work up to this in a chronological way, in accordance with the time. We're still in 1998 at this point. Can we please just go on and have you answer these questions? It's important that she go through this in a normal way, and then we will get to your document and you will be able to question it or talk about it.
Zotri gjykatës.
Your Honor, I accepted to speak until now out of respect for you, but I made it clear to the prosecutor that I would not be saying anything until the document is reviewed. However, again, I'm ready to answer any questions, but after we go through this document. Meaning, what did those investigators, which in my opinion, based on what was written down, are criminal investigators, because they proclaimed me and my family in that document as a traitor to my nation. A document which I never signed and which was never shown to me.
Is so that you can say the things you need to say. If you refuse to answer all questions, there are other procedures that the prosecution can take to admit your prior statements, and included in that will be that document, and you will never be able to question it if that's done that way. So it is to your benefit to go through this process and answer the questions about that document here in court when it comes up in the normal course. But if you refuse altogether, that document may very well be reviewed by the panel without having you here to question it. Do you understand?
I would like to convey my concerns, as I did with the prosecutor. The prosecutor answered to that, meaning my concerns, saying that I had changed my statements on several occasions and so and so. I expressed this concern of mine to the prosecutor. I expressed it to the members of my physical safety, which is a grave concern for me. If we could please just have this document, review it quickly, and then I will be more than happy to answer to any questions put to me. And my answers will be very clear. I am not emotionally able now to answer further questions if we do not review that or go through that document beforehand.
Witness. Could we please bring back the document that we were looking at before, and that's ERN SPOE 00227429. Mr. Tara, before the break, we were discussing this document. On the first page, there's a note for Sula. Do you know who Sula is?
Përgjigjen time e keni ju.
You have my answer. I will not speak any further. No need to ask further questions.
Mr. Tara, the judges need to hear your answer from you now.
Do ta ndëgjoj pas shqirtimit të
They will hear my answer after reviewing the document, which I want to be clear and known to my people. What is this about in this court?
That document very soon, and the sooner you answer my questions, the sooner we will get to that document and you will have an opportunity to answer. So if we can please continue now, I will get to that in due course. We need to finish this topic and a few more topics before we can get to that. Otherwise, it will not be clear what that document means. So please answer my question. Who is Sula?
mua më duhet
I need half an hour to review that document, after which I will give quick, straightforward, clear answers, just like I did during the 32-hour interview with you and the investigators in 2019.
To refresh the witness memory with a prior statement.
Yes, go ahead.
Could we please have a preparation note 125903 to 125933 and go to PDF page 23? And paragraph 127. Witness, during our meeting last week, when I showed you this document, you stated, the witness does not know who Sultan refers to, but Sula was a short name for Suleiman Selimi. Is that an accurate reflection of your evidence?
Ju e dini përgjigjet e
You know my answers. I will not speak anymore.
At this point, I would like to tender this document into evidence.
Any objection?
Your Honor, is it the handwritten document? It's not the preparation note. Yes, Your Honor, we do object to the handwritten document coming in, given the witness's live testimony about not signing the document, it not being his document, and him not knowing anything about what happened to this document. He has given evidence about an incident, but he's unable to give any evidence that authenticates this document, and he's already pointed to the person who would be able to give that evidence previously. So we'd object on that basis.
Your Honour, can I simply add our standing objection to the search, to that?
Your Honour, we would join the objection as well.
Thank you, Your Honor. And if I can note for the record that this document is item 156 in F02944A01, the Patrick Bartebul motion.
Your Honors, SPOE 00227429 to SPOE 00227429 30 will be marked as for identification as P02078, and it's classified as confidential. Thank you, Your Honors.
Apologies, Your Honor. Mr. Tara, in order to make sure that we proceed expeditiously, I will now show you a document which I believe that's the document you are referring to, and I will ask you whether you dispute what's in it, and then we will move on, okay? And this is, could we have, please, SPOE 00144-632 in both languages.
Unë nuk ndëgjoj mirë.
I don't hear very well. The volume is too low. Or maybe the interpreter or the prosecutor is speaking too low.
She is going to show you the document you referred to.
Po?
It'll be on your screen.
Mr. Tara, is this the document that you were referring to?
Qëni dhe në fund.
Can you move it back to the end of it so that I can see the signature?
Could scroll down. Mr. Tara, this is
Please.
a note. Please listen to my question, and you will be given an opportunity. But you have to answer my question. This is a note of a meeting that you had with ANMIC representative in 2001. Do you remember having a meeting with ANMIC representatives in 2001?
Nuk është ki dokument që unë.
It's not the document I'm asking for. And from here, now on, I won't trust this court. You have changed the document. It's not the document I'm asking. I have not read this document. It is signed by my interviewers in 2019, without my knowledge, without my signature. You have tried to alter the document. This is not the document I'm asking for, Mrs. Prosecutor. From now on, I won't trust this court anymore, and I won't utter a word.
Dokumentin investigus.
I'm asking for the document of 2019 signed by the interviewers and prosecutors, an interview that lasted for 32 hours without my knowledge, without having been given this document to me to read, a document that portrays me as a traitor to my country, to my heroes. This is a document that I've never seen before. I ask you to give me a copy of the document. You never gave it to me, Ms. Prosecutor. I asked for the number of the document. You didn't give it to me, and I suspected that the document will get lost. And I believe it is lost if you don't show it to me. I'm not here to play with me. I have fought for my people. I'm not afraid of anyone regarding what I've done. I testified for 32 hours and I can testify again for another 32 hours. I have the CDs of that interview. I have them with me. I can give them to you. I don't trust the translation of 2019, but I have the CDs with me here, and if you want, I can provide them to you, and you can see for yourselves. But this document was never ever shown to me. We have discussed this document.
Again, because you're not responding.
Mr. Tara, maybe I'll read a portion of this document so that it might help your recollection that this is the document we are referring to. So if you can please...
I don't want this document. I don't want this document. This is not the issue I'm asking for.
You don't have, you're going to have to answer the questions that are asked. You don't get to be in charge of what questions are asked. The prosecution will ask you questions, then the defense will ask you questions, and you have to answer them.
I don't mean to interject, but I'm just wondering if the witness is talking about his 2019 SPO interview that was 20 parts and therefore could have been 32 hours.
That's what he is asking.
Yeah, I can show that to him, but my understanding was very different. So if we can please bring up transcript 083217 TRET and the Albanian version, which is 083217 TR.
If I may seek for clarification, any particular part of...
We can start with part one.
Thank you. And another clarification, if we should show the revised versions or not?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Tara, do you remember seeing this transcript last week?
Can you scroll it down to the end, please?
This document, it is a transcript of the audio video.
This is not a document I'm asking for. No. I know what I'm asking for, because I already asked to be given a copy of the document on the number by which it is recorded. This is not the same document. You are manipulating, Mrs. Prosecutor. I want that document. Half of it was read out to me by the interpreter in Albanian. because I couldn't read it myself. Do you remember? Prosecutor.
Please answer my question. Do you remember reviewing this statement last week?
Nu că mă fi tot
I don't remember anything without looking at the document. Then everything will come back to me.
Asking you whether the SPO representative behaved professionally during the interview.
I'm telling you, show me the document, then I will speak. It is a very, very important document to show what this court is doing to the KLA fighters, staining the image of it. Don't ask me, I won't answer. After I see the document on the screen, the document I asked for, either give me a copy of it or the number of its registration so that I can ask the judges to show the document. You know very well what document I'm talking about. Then we can proceed very smoothly without any problem. Without the document, I have no answer.
Tara, I showed you the document earlier and you said it wasn't the right document. I've offered to read parts of the document to you and you didn't want to hear it. So now I'd like to show a prior statement. If we could please go to ERN 125903, page 3. And if we could focus on paragraph 12, please. Last week, when we asked you that question in relation to your 2019 interview, you are recorded stating that during this SPO interview, the SPO representatives sometimes put pressure on the witness to answer a question by repeating a question he believed he had answered. He also recalls feeling tired during the interview. The witness further noted that the SPO representatives behaved professionally and correctly throughout the interview, and he has no complaint about the process. Does that accurately capture your evidence?
I can't hear well. Only after the interpreter who read half of the document in Albanian comes here, because she...
It is not up to you. It is not up to you to decide what the conditions are for your testimony. Answer the question made by the prosecutor.
I won't give any answer. I already said that I won't answer any questions before that document is shown to me, half of which I read myself, half of which was read out by the interpreter because I was unable to read it. I was crying.
Witness, can I ask you a question? Is my understanding correct that you were interviewed in 2000 by UNMIC and in 2001 by UNMIC? Is that right?
I was not interviewed by UNMIC ever. I saw that document that was shown to me, but I'm asking for my document, which was read, half of it was read by my interpreter because I was unable to read it. Without showing me that document, I declare that this is a court that wants to punish us as a nation, as a KLA, as Albanians. Without the document, you no longer represent a credible court to me.
And the document you're talking about. You also were interviewed in 2019 for several days by the Specialist Prosecutor's Office. Isn't that right?
Yes.
Dymen anlajta, po
In 2019 we are talking about this court. Are we talking about the specialist court? Yes, 32 or 34 hours.
Understand which document you're concerned about. Is it the 2019 interview, or is it the 2001 interview, or is it the 2000 interview?
për intervju
I'm concerned about the interview of 2019. The general description of events without my knowledge. The summary of the investigators' questions.
We have a 470-page transcript of that interview, and we don't have time to go through 470 pages. So you're going to have to help us understand exactly what the problem is in very concise terms.
The prosecutor knows because I already asked for a copy of that document or to have the year and number of the document. My prosecutor knows what I'm talking about. She knows very well. Or my interpreter, translator, who read half of it. As I said, I couldn't read it because I felt that I was being described as a traitor of my country, of my compatriots, of all the blood that was shed in Kosovo for its liberation. Do you understand, sir? That document I have been asking for so long. Otherwise, I will not talk about anything. I don't trust this court if you don't show me the document.
Maybe we can make one last attempt to show the unmixed statement, and I'll read out from it. Mr. Tara, I know what document you're talking about. Let me bring it up and read it out to you. Mr. Tara,
not unmixed, not a document of unmixed. Don't try. I'm asking about the document that I have already asked. The document I asked you to give me a copy of, not the unmixed document. Then we can discuss the unmixed and any document you may have.
the document that was read out to you by the interpreter, half of it was read out to you by the interpreter. I will read out a portion so that...
That document, I mean.
Mr.
Show it on the screen.
Please, we need to proceed with order. SPOE 00144632, and if we could please... go to the second half of the page. If we can scroll down. Mr. Tara, I will slowly read out to you this document, and you can follow what I'm saying through interpretation. Tara admitted that UCK kidnapped civilians suspected to be collaborators, no matter if they were Serbs, Romas, or Albanians. It was necessary to save the goal. Tara said that after brutal questioning, the suspects, undressed and without papers, got killed and left on the spot of the execution. Sometimes they burned the bodies, otherwise, animals and time contributed to destroy the evidence. He explained that the UCK had to kill them. In case of release or escape, the prisoner, would have been a physical evidence of what UCK did. Do you recall giving this statement?
This, I am not asking for this document, Miss Prosecutor. Please show me that particular document. This is an UNMIC document. I showed you about that.
She's merely asking you if you said this, if you said what she read to you. Did you say that?
No, never. This is something written by a journalist that never met me. I want the document. I asked the prosecutor to show it on the screen.
I asked you, did you say this? And you said, no, you did not. That's your answer. You did not say this, correct? Just answer yes or no.
This was said by Anna Vanosi, Your Honor.
Was it said by you? That's all I'm asking you.
No. It was somebody else who said that. I said I never had a meeting with Anna Vanosi, never.
Your Honours, if I may at this point, just trying to assist, there is another version of this in the documents that were annexed to the interview. And the version that I'm looking at has some signatures at the top, and I'm wondering if signatures to show that they were dealt with in 2019. I'm wondering if that could be the confusion.
Well, I don't know, but it's the prosecution's place to go forward. Thank you for bringing that up, but go ahead, Madam Prosecutor. It's time for the morning break anyway. We'll take a half-hour break. We'll give you a half-hour break, witness, and we'll come back to the courtroom at 11:30. Please leave the courtroom with the usher. No. Is off. We're adjourned for a half hour.
All rise.
Be seated, please. Before proceeding, the panel will issue an oral order on its reasons for ruling on the joint defense submissions on consecutive final briefs, which was filing F02911. On 7 February 2025, the defense requested that the time limit of Rule 134B and paragraph 135 of the Order on Conduct be varied to allow the parties to file successive briefs in order to protect the fair and efficient conduct of proceedings. The defense submitted that the adversarial nature of these proceedings requires that the briefs be filed consecutively. The defense further argued that what it says is the, I'll say that again. The defense further argued that what it says is the obscurity inherent to the SBO's case warrants the filing of sequential briefs. On 14 February 2025, the SBO responded in filing F02936, submitting that consistent with the rules, the order on the conduct of the proceedings, and the relevant practice before this and other courts, the parties and participants' final trial briefs should be filed simultaneously. According to the SBO, the defense misapprehends the purpose of final trial briefs, which is not to respond to other party's closing brief, but to express a party's own position regarding the charges set out in the indictment and the evidence led in the case. On February 19, 2025, the panel indicated that final trial briefs shall be filed simultaneously. The panel hereby provides reasons for that ruling. The panel is of the view that the primary purpose of final trial briefs is for each party to put forward its case in light of the evidence on the record of proceedings. The panel is not persuaded by the defense arguments in support of its request that final trial briefs be submitted consecutively. First, Rule 134B and C of the rules clearly provides for the simultaneous filing of final trial briefs. Secondly, the practice of other jurisdictions is of limited relevance here insofar as they have adopted both simultaneous and successive briefs, depending on cases, and have applied a regime different than the one applicable to the KSC. The panel notes in that regard that the practice of the Kosovo Specialist Chambers has been and will continue to involve simultaneous filing of final trial briefs consistent with Rule 134. Contrary to the defense's argument, the adversarial aspects of the proceedings do not demand or justify successive briefs. Each party, as well as the participants, will get a full and fair opportunity to put their own case forward in their final briefs, and if they choose to do so, to respond to the opposing side's arguments in their final oral submissions. The defense's arguments regarding the supposed obscurity of the SPO's case is no more convincing. The defense knows the SPO's case and will be able to address all relevant aspects of that case as it chooses to do in its final trial briefs and final oral submissions. For these reasons, the panel orders that consistent with Rule 134 and the practice of this jurisdiction, final trial briefs will be filed simultaneously. The panel further orders the defense to request the reclassification or submit a public redacted version of their request F02911 by Friday, 7 March 2025. Finally, the panel indicates that it will in due course set the deadline for filing of final briefs and will provide indications to the parties and participants regarding certain aspects of the contents of these documents and the panel's expectations in relation to it. This concludes the oral order. Madam Court Officer, or Court Usher, please bring the witness in. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, yes, Your Honor.
Prosecutor?
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Tara, I would like to make one last attempt to show you a document to see if that's the document you're referring to. So if we could please have ERN 083094 to ERN 083196. And if we could go to page 15 in the English and 17 in Albanian of the PDF.
Io, Zonia Procuror.
No, Madam Prosecutor. That's not the document.
It's not on the screen yet. I will tell you once the document is on the screen, so please bear with us. And if we could have page 17 side by side of the same document. That's the Albanian. Mr. Tara, this document was shown to you during your interview with the SPO in 2019, and you made some markings on it. Is this the document that you were referring to?
Io, Zonia.
No, Madam Prosecutor. You know exactly what document I'm talking about. And your associates know, who were in the preparation session. They know exactly what document I'm referring to.
You don't need to comment on your thoughts about the question. Just answer the question and we'll move on.
Can we scroll down maybe so that he can see the whole document? If we can zoom out a little bit so he has an overview of the page. Thank you.
Io, Zonia Procuror.
No, Madam Prosecutor.
Your Honor, I also have the binder in paper copy that was shown to him during the preparation session. If Your Honors would like, I can hand it over to you and the defense for review if the witness would like to see a hard copy of the statements he reviewed. And
Are you asking to show the document in paper to the
yes,
witness?
Yeah, the entire binder, both with the SPO interview and 2001.
For what purpose are you going to show
In
the
case-
entire binder?
In case it refreshes his memory, that's what he saw. I can offer it, but I don't know.
Prosecutor, you decide what you want to do.
Sorry, I wonder if before we go to that discussion, if you could just show him all the pages of that document just to be sure, because I think this is just the first page.
If we could move to the next page in Albanian. If we could zoom out. Yes, thank you. If we could zoom out so that the entire page is visible. Is this the document you're referring to?
Io, Zonia Procuror.
No, Madam Prosecutor.
Then I'll ask you the next question. Could we go to the next page? If we could scroll down and go to the next page.
Io, Zonia Procuror.
No, Madam Prosecutor. That's not the one.
Io, Zonia Procuror.
No, Madam Prosecutor.
Thank you, Your Honor. If we could please bring up first part 4 of his SPO interview, which is 083217 TRET. And if we could go to page part 4 in English. And if we could go to page 10 in English. Apologies, page 11. If you could go to the next page in English, please. Thank you. Mr. Tara, I will read out to you a portion of your prior statement where you were shown a document. And here you're recorded saying, starting at line 15, there were...
Your Honor, I'm asking for the document, not my interview. I've read them, the parts of the interview, that is. I want to see the document that was shown to me, and I would want the prosecutor to show that again.
I'd like to read to you a part of your prior statement, recording your answers about the document. You stated, there was a meeting in a place where I had worked after the war. I met with them 2 or 3 times, if we're talking about the same case. If it's that case, that's when I recall anything else. This was the Italian. I don't know who was the representative there. If we're talking about the same thing, I can remember. And then the investigator says, no, this interview was conducted by Anna Vannozzi. And you ask, a woman? A woman. And your answer is, I don't know. I don't recall meeting with any women. And then you are asked, do you recall meeting with any police investigators from ANMIC in 2001? And your answer is, I don't recall. I don't recall. I do recall that during the time I was commander, I understood someone was an investigator, but I didn't know. He was somebody who was looking for, I know that there was a case while I was the commander of someone from the OSCE who was looking for a former employee whose mother was Albanian and whose father was a Serb, who went missing in the neighborhood of Serbs. But I don't recall meeting with any woman involved with any investigation. Do you recall being interviewed about the case involving a victim by the name of Thaçi Halimi? And your answer is, for sure, this is not the same. But do you agree that you met with ANMIC, this ANMIC officer, Anna Vannozzi, in January 2001, and gave her information? In which place? Well, I'm asking generally if you recall meeting with her, but this document says the meeting took place and then there's a reduction. 100% no, although it is possible I may have forgotten. This wouldn't have been in the form of an interview.
Dokumentin tim që kërkoj ti.
You know very well what document I'm asking for, Madam Prosecutor. You know very well.
Phone is off again because you're not answering the question. Just answer her question so we can move on.
Nuk përgjigjem pyet.
I will not answer the question until the document I'm asking for is shown. We can adjourn immediately. I will not answer any question before seeing the document, because my suspicion is that this court is a corrupt court and...
Fikët i sardësh, po unë nuk do të përgjigjem asnjë pyetje, pa më paraqit dokumente, sepse unë jam dyshues në tërë gjykatën, në tërë stafin e gjykatës.
You are out of order, witness. Please be quiet. Please be quiet. Go ahead.
Thank you, Your Honor. Your Honor, I've made all attempts to show the witness the document. I will now proceed with the questioning.
Go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Tara, I would like to ask you a few questions about your role in the RT unit. What was your role in the RT unit?
You know everything. I will not say anything anymore until I've seen the document.
Who appointed you to that position?
Nuk përgjigjem për
I will not answer until you have shown my document, which is related to my safety, that of my relatives, and which is described by the investigators in 2019 as where I'm described as a traitor, and I will not have any answers for you until I've seen the document.
Could the panel compel the witness to answer?
Are you going to answer that question?
pasi të më jepet ai
Just yes.
After I've seen that. No.
You understand you are ordered to answer the question, and you could be in violation of this court's rules if you fail to answer the question, and you could be fined if you fail to answer the question.
Jo të gjubitem, po dhe
Not only fine, but you can even if I get killed, I will not speak before having seen the document. Even if I'm to be killed, I will not speak until we have reviewed the document in question.
Your Honor, I did not hear what you said.
You may go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Tara, what were your main tasks in the RT unit?
s'kam përgjigje.
I have no answer.
Your Honor, we will be seeking to tender the prior statements pursuant to Rule 143 C, 2C, should the witness continue not to answer the questions. This might be done in writing. This should be done in writing, as portions should be selected. So I would like to submit it in writing after court.
That's your right. Are you finished with your questions then?
Yes, Your Honor. I don't believe that the witness will answer.
Defense?
Your Honor, we're in a position where, first, our submission is that not all avenues have been exhausted to get the witness to answer questions. He hasn't been, the matter hasn't been explored with him in relation to contempt, and he hasn't been held in contempt. So that's our first submission, that those steps should be taken first before any further submissions are heard. Our additional submissions would be about the inability to admit these statements, given that we would not have the opportunity, it seems, to be able to cross-examine in respect to those matters. But that's jumping the gun. Our primary submission would be every step has to be taken to get the witness to testify before the court so that Your Honours had the benefit of that evidence, and we then, as the defence, are able to, on that basis, cross-examine the witness.
Anybody else? No? All right, the witness has been warned by the court that he's indicated he really didn't care and would refuse to answer. And we do not see the need to go any further on contempt at this time. We will give you the opportunity to ask questions or to try to ask questions if you wish. And if you do not, we will adjourn and await any further pleading or filing by the prosecution.
Your Honour, my first submission would be that proceeding with contempt and taking that step could produce results. We're not in that realm yet, and that should be a first step taken. So I'd reiterate that. It would be my first submission.
This is in the discretion of the panel, and we choose not to because we do not think it would do any good. The man is refusing to answer anything within reason, and so therefore we will not hold him in contempt.
But Your Honor,
That's all.
Okay. My second submission would then be that we have to know before we make a decision about cross-examination what material is going to be in evidence. We would say no further material could be submitted in evidence. If that's the case, then I would cross-examine on the basis, or try to, on the basis of what's on the record. But I would have to know what material is in evidence first, because there's a vast, I mean, there are 4 or 5 days of testimony. If that all comes in, then I would have to cross-examine on that basis, together with all of the other material as well, including the unmixed materials. So that it have to be a decision made on that first before we decided whether to go ahead and on what basis we would then cross-examine.
Anything further? Yes, go ahead, Ms.
I support Mr. Dixon's submissions that we should first proceed to contempt. If Your Honour is not minded to do that, I think we need to be crystal clear about what this witness's evidence is. He's a live witness. The only evidence that the defence has heard is the evidence he's given since 9:30, 9 o'clock this morning, and therefore the only evidence we could cross-examine on would be what we've heard in the last 3 hours. The defence can't be in a situation where after this witness has finished testifying, Your Honours then admit all of his statements, 20-part interview, attendant exhibits, and we haven't been given the opportunity to cross-examine him on them. And at the moment, we cannot cross-examine him on them because they are not his evidence and they are not in evidence. Moving to any forthcoming motion by the prosecution, the test in 143C is whether or not the witness has made a prior inconsistent statement. My learned friend has read into the record what this witness had said in relation to the unmixed statement. It is completely consistent. He has always said he never made that. In terms of the rest of his evidence this morning, I personally haven't seen any inconsistencies with what he said in his SPO statement. And therefore, I do not think it can be right that the prosecutor is allowed to skip through his evidence in this manner and effectively deny the defence an opportunity to cross-examine the witness.
The panel hasn't approved any skipping in this matter. We're waiting to see what is being suggested by the prosecution.
I join the submissions that have already been made. I just wanted to add 2 points. The first is that we would say not every step has been taken to this point because there is still the possibility of showing the binder as was floated, I think, by the prosecutor a few moments ago. And the second is that I would ask for some time before any further steps are taken, just because we weren't anticipating this coming to a head quite as quickly as it has. So before cross-examination starts, if we continue following this path, I would ask for some time.
Your Honor, just to support the objections that have been made thus far. Thank you.
Prosecution wish to reply?
Yes, Your Honor, of course, we would do the tender before any cross-examination begins.
When are we going to do that? This witness is here now. Are you going to do that tomorrow or the next day?
Your Honor, in the interest of efficiency, we might, if we can adjourn and have a short break, then I will have all the quotes related.
You're going to go through the binder item by item? You're going to go through the binder on some items, is that what you're suggesting? But
yes.
Not the entire binder?
Yes. This would include, just to be clear, this will include the portions of the SPO interview that relate to the matters notified pursuant to Rule 95, as well as the preparation note and the 2001 statement.
It's not inconsistent yet.
We'll give you a half hour to, I thought maybe that was what was going to happen in the last half hour, but we'll give you another half hour to come up with what it is you want to do and how to proceed, so you can explain it to the satisfaction of the panel and to the and to the defense. We will reconvene at 12:30. Please be prepared to proceed at that time.
Your Honor, if I can say, though, depending on what comes, we will have to respond, and I'm not sure we're going to be in a position to do that. We're in very novel territory here, and a prep note coming in, essentially a prep note 2 coming in, as far as I know, I haven't been here the whole time, but it's never been done before. So that's quite a step to take. So there may well be a need for a lot more time to address these questions.
We don't have a lot more time. We're going to have to deal with it today.
Well, we do have the week, Your Honor, to ensure that this is done properly and fairly.
Yes, sir. You're not involved in this discussion. What do you want to say quickly?
One clarification. It's not that I will not answer to this court or prosecution questions for anything they ask. I will give answers, clear, concise, and straightforward. But I ask first to see the document I am asking for. Then everything will go smoothly and quickly. I am not saying that I will refuse to testify.
Refusing to testify. You have been shown a variety of documents and found some reason to not recognize any of them, and maybe that's true, that's fine, that's your position, but you are refusing to testify. So we are going to adjourn now, and we will be back in a half hour, and we will see if they intend to come up with a different process. So you may leave the courtroom in the company of the usher, and we'll see you back here in a half hour.
This is maltreatment. You can do whatever you want.
We're adjourned until 12:30.
All rise. All rise.
Be seated. We will do this out of the presence of the witness at the present time. Madam Prosecutor, have you identified an item or items that you intend to tender?
Yes, Your Honor. Before we get to that, I would like to try one last attempt to show the witness the document that he says we showed to him, by bringing him to the words that he said in court today and the words that were recorded in the preparation note and the ERN recorded on the preparation note and the ERN recorded on the statement, and then show him the physical binder. And I'd be ready, if that still does not yield any result, then...
We will give you that opportunity. If it does not produce any results, we will excuse him for a few minutes. We will then discuss the balance, the thing that you brought up, Mr. Dixon, and the rest of you did. So we'll start with bringing him back in. You may try one last time. Can you hear all right, witness?
Yes, Your Honor.
You have the floor.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Tara, as the presiding judge noted earlier today, it's very important that we hear your evidence here today. So I want to try and make another attempt at showing you the document that you've been asking for. And to do so, I'll use your own description of the document that you have done, that you have, as you have described it this morning. So please listen carefully to what I'm saying. This morning, when you first asked for this document, you said, if that moment about which I raised my concerns, which endangered my life, and that of my relatives, in which I was described as a traitor to my nation, as a traitor to the KLA, as a traitor to the martyrs of my nation, and all those slaughtered civilians, and deported from the country before clearing the name of Commander Hoxha, with respect to that document, I will not give any further statement. And do you recall telling me exactly those words during the prep note when I showed you that document? And please just answer yes or no.
Yes, Madam Prosecutor.
5903. And go to page 21 of the PDF. Your answer, do you recall that your answers that you gave to us during the preparation were written down and read back to you?
Will you show me the document, or it's about another document?
About the same thing, please follow me for now, okay? Just listen to what I have to say. Do you remember that when we talked during the preparation session, we wrote down what you said and we read back to you what you had said? Could we scroll down to paragraph 119, please?
Please show it in Albanian.
Now, during the preparation session, as it's recorded here, you said to me, when I showed you that document, and the code of that document is recorded here, that's what I'm interested in you noticing, you said, the witness read the document and indicated that its content are not true. If this statement is made public, it would be dangerous for him and he would be killed by someone in his community. The document describes me as a traitor of my nation, a traitor of the martyrs and heroes of the KLA, as well as a traitor of the murdered civilians and their families. The witness pleads that there be no leak of this document. Do you remember that this is the document that you were describing, that document, when you told me those words? That these are...
Yes, according to what you are putting to me. We are talking about the same document, but I didn't ask not to be public, but that we discuss this document in the session before everything else.
Document at the next to the number 119, there is a code for that document that we were discussing. So I'm going to ask the court officer to keep these on one side of the page and bring up SPOE 00144-632 on the other side of the page.
Will the witness be asked to speak closer to the mic, please?
Would you wish to have a document in English or in
In Albanian, please. Now, if we can scroll down, thank you. Sorry, the English version, please. No, apologies, that's fine. Sorry, apologies. Yes, now, do you see that number at the very bottom of this document?
Nuk është ky dokument që unë
It's not the document I'm asking for.
This down. Your Honor, at this time I'll show him the physical binder.
Granted.
Mr. Tara, this is the hard copy documents that you read during the preparation session. Can you please look at the first document in that binder and tell us if that's the document you're referring to?
No, Madam Prosecutor.
Thank you. Mr. Tara, do you still maintain that you will not answer my questions?
derisa nuk ma paraqit një dokument
Until you show me the document and I know that you know what I'm talking about, my answer is no, I won't. Even if you sentence me for life.
Stage, I'd like to tender the witness prior statements into evidence, and that is...
Let's stop just for a moment.
Yes.
We'll excuse the witness.
Your Honor, if I may, in the spirit of exhausting all steps, what I would ask is that the witness be warned again and sanctions
please,
as
please,
an option so that he
Mr.
knows
Dixon,
the consequences.
please be seated. I'm not finished speaking.
Thank you.
The witness will be excused from the room, please. If there is a tender, it should be very selective in nature. It seems that there is one document that seems to be of singular importance. We would suggest a very limited tender, bringing up questions, bringing up matters or documents that are essential. I don't want 544 pages entered in this. It's not fair to anybody at this stage of the proceedings. The defense should assume for purposes of a cross-examination that the items would be admitted, could be admitted, but we will not rule on them until the close of cross-examination and re-examination if exercised.
Yes, Your Honor, 2 points. The first, having taken instructions from my client as well, I would renew my request for all steps to be taken. We haven't asked this witness what document it is that he's referring to, but more importantly, there are steps in the rules for the witness to be warned. And without that taking place, we don't know what the response of the person would be.
The witness was warned.
And being in a prison cell might well change his perspective. That's the whole point of going through it step by step in contempt proceedings.
I know that's your request, but that's not going to happen. Now, what else?
So that's the first request for proper contempt proceedings. The second is that we will need to respond to whatever application is made. As I said before, these are very new matters to arise, and we will want to know before we start cross-examination, if we do, what the outcome is. So we will ask for that time, plus also time to consider cross-examination as a whole in these particular circumstances.
The cross-examination as a whole was going to happen no matter what happened in this. You knew what the statement was ahead of time, and you knew that it could involve any of it. So that's not a very good argument. But we will give you some time if necessary, but it won't be very much. Could I please?
Your Honour, sorry, if I just
I'm sorry, Ms. Tapakoli, I didn't mean to cut you off.
Just to make an objection for the record, for the purposes of the record, because I've heard what Your Honour has said, we reiterate Mr. Dixon's invitation to Your Honours to hold this witness in contempt. You have warned him. You have issued an order that he speaks. You have warned him that you may order a fine. However, we would invite you to exercise your discretion to hold him in contempt. Otherwise, it sends a message that witnesses can simply come to this court, choose not to give evidence, and there'll be no consequence. If we now go down the path that this witness's statements, I hear Your Honour has requested the prosecution be selective in what it tenders. But if we go down this path under Rule 42(8) of the law, it does say that you must compel the witness to testify. If you don't use the tools available, then the right of the accused to confront the witnesses under Article 21 of the law will be violated. For the point that I raised earlier, we don't know what is in evidence, and therefore we cannot cross-examine until we know what is in evidence. And at the moment, the only thing that we know is in evidence is what he said in the last 2 hours.
Well, that's the purpose of my preamble, is we're going to try to find out what's going to be tendered at least.
We join the objections, Your Honour.
Thank you, Mr. Ellis. So, you understand our position. Are you ready to identify those areas you wish to tender?
Yes, Your Honor, we would like, I cannot provide the exact page references now. We are proposing to redact parts of the SPO interview that relate to an incident in 2019 where the witness met with Driton Laici, but we would like to tender the remaining part that relates to his knowledge of the KLA units in 1998, the offensive.
I need a little more information than that. If you're going to tender a particular portion, we need to know what portion it's going to be.
Yes, Your Honor. Unfortunately, these topics are intertwined throughout the 20 parts of the statements, which is why I cannot exactly identify immediately which portions, but the topic related to the meeting with Mr. Thaçi and later with Driton Laici would be redacted. The rest we propose to tender into evidence.
The rest of the 544
yes,
pages.
Your Honor, together with the preparation note and the unmixed statement, as well as the associated exhibits discussed in the preparation note.
That's not very selective. There's a lot of material in there that is not essential to your case.
That's noted, Your Honor. We can reduce that to two exhibits.
Now is the time, Ms. Ayudisi.
We can reduce that to 2 exhibits, meaning the sketch that the witness drew himself, that's attached to preparation note 2, which is an aid to understanding what he's discussing in his evidence. And the documents addressed in paragraphs 135 and 137. That's ERN 024397 and ERN SITF 00441811. Your Honor, I'd also like to note for the record that the witness this morning indicated that he stands by his answers of 2019, and that's at page 32, lines 21 to 23, and that these statements bear all the indicia of authenticity and reliability as they are all verbatim transcripts of the interview.
Can I just ask a question for clarity? First of all, Mr. Dixon, yourself have referred to preparation note 2. My understanding is there's only one preparation note. Is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, as it's a live witness, it's only called preparation note.
Secondly, you said we can reduce that to 2 exhibits. Do I understand you to mean that the sketch and the other items you've just identified are what you propose not to tender?
No, those are what I propose to tender.
And so the 2001 and 2000
No.
statements you would not tender?
Sorry, as associated exhibits. The sketch and those 2 documents would be associated exhibit to the preparation note, which would be tendering, as well as the SPO interview, which would be redacted up to expunge the
So
parts
it's not
that
much
are
of a reduction, in essence, is it?
There are extensive discussion about the 2019 meeting in the SPO interview that makes up for a significant part of the statement.
Yeah, thank you.
Your Honor, and I think what is most important is to know the legal basis upon which this is being done, because the prosecution didn't use 154. The witness was due to come live. They made that choice. And if they're looking to go under Rule 143, well, what is the basis? If the prosecution is saying he's adopted his 2019 statement, I mean, that's not inconsistent then, or it's not something he's forgotten. So how does it come in under 143? I mean, they should have done it under 154. They had the choice to do that, but now we're in a situation where the live evidence hasn't been given. And there shouldn't be a backdoor to allow this evidence in. That's why we want an opportunity to respond to this in full, including a preparation note. I didn't mean to say there was preparation note 2, but this is the equivalent of that. It's all new information in the sense that the witness hasn't adopted it. It really comes from a summary of an interview with the prosecutor opposite me who's recorded that. He hasn't then signed that. How does that come in as a statement? That's why I was saying it's a first-time issue, as I understand it, that's going to have to be decided.
Yes, Your Honor. Just to make the record very clear, we are seeking to tender the SPO interview, which is ERN 083217TR, the 20 parts appropriately redacted to take out the references to the issue of the 2019 meeting, the preparation note, and that is ERN 125903, 3 associated exhibits to the preparation note. This, as indicated earlier today, this is being tendered pursuant to Rule 143(2)(b)(c), and which specifically foresees this kind of tender when a witness is not making a genuine attempt to give evidence. The admission of a statement of a witness who refuses to testify on the basis of the combined reading of Rule 143(2)(b)(c) and is also consistent with paragraph 107 of the Order on Conduct of Proceedings and decision F01821, where the chamber held that the statement of a witness who refuses to testify if the statement of a witness who refused to testify were inadmissible, this would undermine the rights of victims to access justice. Thank you.
Sorry, Your Honor, if I may, just one more point.
No problem, go ahead.
If we wind up in a situation where the prosecutor gets their evidence admitted and then the witness refuses to testify and answer our questions, we're going to be in a situation where we don't have a right to cross-examine. So a lot of this depends on what the witness will do under cross-examination.
Understood. Okay, we'll step aside for a few minutes. Please. Oh, I'm
Your
sorry,
Honor,
Mr. Ellis.
Your Honor, I'm sorry. I misspoke. I intend to tender also the 2001 unmixed statement. I'm sorry, that wasn't, I didn't mention it in the list.
Thank you.
And that was what I was rising to address, Your Honours. We would want in particular to know clearly what the legal basis for the tender of that document is, in circumstances where the witness has gone further, I think, than any prior witness where Rule 143 may have been engaged. In that, as I understood the evidence this morning, he was saying that's not his. He didn't say that. It's certainly not signed by him. So on what basis is that then being put in?
Thank you. We will step aside.
All rise. All rise.
Be seated. Out of the presence of the witness, we will direct the prosecution to make their tender today. Cross-examination will commence at 2:30. As I stated earlier, we will withhold any ruling on requested admission, bearing in mind that there may be a good portion of what you tender not admitted because of being not especially relevant or especially necessary in this case. You should consider the fact that we could be admitting all of the matters that are tendered. Certainly no statement that we're going to, and we will make the admission ruling at the end. That'll be our ruling. You may make the tender now at this, if you wish to.
Your Honor, I need time to specify the pages and lines.
How much time?
If I can do that when we resume at 2:30.
All right. Well, we'll do you a favor. We'll wait till tomorrow morning to start cross-examination so you have some time. You've had these 744 pages for some time. I read them a long time ago, so I assume that you have too. So you can certainly cross-examine as though all of it were admitted, whether it is or not. Yes, Ms. Tavakoli.
If I can just confirm, my agreement with the prosecutor is that the tender will exclude all the evidence about the meeting at Suleiman Salimi's house, subsequent conversations with Dritan Laischke, and this witness's interaction with the ambassador, the Kosovan ambassador, when he came to The Hague. So we've agreed that that will all be excluded.
Correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, thank you. Anything else?
Yes, and I'm grateful for the time. My only point, John, is that without knowing what is in evidence, yes, we can proceed, but conducting theoretical cross-examination about hypothetical topics that might not be in evidence, I mean, how do we deal with that after the fact?
They could be admitted, they may not be admitted.
Yes, but then we have cross-examination on the record of material that might not be admitted.
Possible.
So my request remains for a ruling on what is admissible before we start cross-examination. But I'm in any event grateful for the time to at least be able to know from what the prosecution says to be able to then adjust things for starting tomorrow morning.
I was giving you until, I was withholding ruling until afterwards as a benefit to the defense. But you're saying you don't want us to withhold ruling on it?
Your Honor, what I wish to know is following our response, because the prosecution have to make their tender. We would want an opportunity to respond, and then for a ruling before we commence our cross-examination.
We'll consider that. We'll consider that.
I'm grateful, Your Honors. Thank you.
So we will be adjourned until 2:30, at which time the prosecutor.
I'm very sorry, Your Honor. There is one last matter related to... yes.
will be adjourned until 2:30, at which time prosecution will make their statement of what they tender. Now, what is it?
Yes, Your Honor. If we could solve the matter regarding WO2677 now, that would save us from unnecessary trouble. We agreed with the defense to propose to have the witness evidence admitted pursuant to Rule 153.
No, there was no objection, was there?
No, we reached out to the prosecution on Thursday, I believe, and they responded on Friday, and we agreed between us that it would include simply his statements and none of, well, the associated exhibits already tendered into evidence. Thank you.
There's no problem with that with the panel, and it is hereby ordered.
Thank you, Your Honor.
So we will be back here at 2:30. We're adjourned until then.
All rise. All rise.
Be seated. Please bring the witness in, Madam Usher. All right, Mr. Tara, can you hear?
Yes. Yes, Your Honor.
Make your tender.
Yes, Your Honor. At this stage, we would like to tender ERN 083217 TRET Part 1 revised, page 1, line 1 to page 15, line 9, and page 48, lines 9 to 10. Part 2 revised, page 1, lines 1 to 17, page 2, line 6 to page 8, line 21, page 9, line 4 to page 20, line 24. Part 3 revised, the whole part, it's a total of 7 pages. Part 4 revised, the whole part, it's a total of 34 pages. Part 5 revised will not be submitted. Part 6 also will not be submitted. Of Part 7, we'd like to tender the entire part. Part 8, we'd like to tender the entire part. Part 9, we'd like to tender page 1 to line 1, page 1, line 1 to page 7, line 6. Part 10, we'd like to tender page 1, line 1 to page 2, line 18, and page 9, line 10 to page 37, line 9. Part 11 as a whole part. Part 12 will tender the whole part. Part 13 will be tendering from page 1, lines 111, and page 7, line 21 to page 11, line 21. We do not seek to tender part 14. Of part 15, we'd like to tender page 1, line 1 to page 19, line 20, and page 20, line 2 to page 23, line 24. Page 16, we'd like to tender the whole part. Page 17, we'd like to tender page 1, line 1 to page 8. Page 1, line 1 to 8, and page 8, line 11 to page 19, line 19. Part 18, we'd like to tender the whole part. Part 19, we'd like to tender page 1, line 1 to page 21, line 20, page 22, line 23 to page 23, line 2, and page 28, lines 7 to 9. Of part 20, we'd like to tender page 1, line 1 to 21, and page 6, line 17 to page 7, line 6, and page 9, line 7 to page 16, line 15. Then we'd like to tender the preparation note, which is ERN 125903 to 125933, and 3 associated exhibits. One is ERN 125932 to 125933, and the second is 024397 to 024399, and ERN SITF 00441811 to 00441812. We'd also like to tender the unmixed statement that is ERN SPOE 00144-632 to 00144-633, read and Albanian translation. And Your Honor, if I may make brief submissions about these 3 documents.
Yes, go ahead.
For the SPO interview, we have limited the portions tendered to those which concern KLA units and members active and operating in and around Malisheva, Drenoc, Rahovec in Summer 98 and Summer 99. The limited portions tendered likewise relate to crimes allegedly committed by certain KLA members in these locations in Summer 98 and Summer 99, as charged in the indictment. Finally, certain parts of the tender statements relate to the witness's rights during the SPO interview, as well as prior statements given and his explanation thereof. The 2001 unmixed statement is discussed at length in the SPO interview and was commented on by the witness, who confirmed certain parts and used contents of the interview to provide additional evidence related to his role in the KLA and activities related to locations, units, members, and victims included in the indictment. While the witness denies the underlying interview, it is prima facie authentic, being recorded on an official template indicating the issuing authority, those present during the interview, as being signed by the statement taker. And finally, with regards to the preparation note, which discusses, clarifies, and corrects his prior statements, it is relevant for the same reasons. Those parts of the preparation note pertaining documents transparently set out the witness's comments on various documents which are relevant to the panel's assessment thereof. Some of them have been admitted already, while others have been tendered. Thus, the witness comments on those documents will ultimately assist the panel in its truth-seeking functions. Other parts relate to the witness's credibility or circumstances of the preparation session and his approach to his testimony. The preparation note should therefore be admitted in full. Thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, Ms. Tafakoli.
I was just seeking to inquire of my learned friend whether or not she's minded to redact paragraphs 10 and 142 of the preparation note because they relate to the other paragraphs in the witness statement that she's agreed to take out. So for consistency, I think they should also come out.
Yes, Your Honor.
They will be omitted from the tender? All right. Do you wish to make record now, or do you want to do that in the morning?
Your Honours, we would request to do so in the morning because we have to go through each of these particular references now. So we can do it in the morning and it can be done orally and then take it step by step from there.
Thank you very much. Everybody agree to that?
Thank you, Your Honours.
Ms. Tafakoli.
Thank you. And I've spoken to my learned friend already, but please could we also have permission to release our queue first thing in the morning once we've gone through all the documents? I understand there's no objection from the prosecutor.
Each of you can release your queue in the morning if you have one. Witness, that is all for today. You'll be excused now. You'll have to be back here tomorrow at 9 o'clock. At that time, we will have cross-examination questions from the defense. Yes?
I have only one request. I have a solution for this process so that we can proceed in a normal and proper way as it was the case when we started. For that, I would need 10 minutes to explain my concern, my fear, and why am I frustrated. I would like to be given the opportunity to inform the people in this court hearing about everything. That if that document that I asked for were to be shown to me, which I asked from the prosecution, I would then answer all the questions asked to me. But I would, before that, I would need space to explain and convey my fear and my concerns regarding that document and what it can potentially convey.
Understand what your position is. You refuse to answer questions. We are proceeding in a different way. So your request is denied. We will see you tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock. Cross-examination by the defense counsel will occur beginning sometimes around 9 o'clock. You may leave the courtroom now.
That's fine. However, even tomorrow, I will not speak unless I'm given the opportunity to raise my concerns in relation to the document I referred to.
You at the very beginning, put your ears back on. We told you at the beginning you would be given ample time at the end of your testimony to make your statement. You chose not to do that. That's your choice. So we will go forward. That's all.
I only need 10 minutes, Your Honor.
That's all that we're going to do today. Thank you very much. Please leave the room.
Okay.
And tomorrow, I'm asking for a lawyer to represent me and to whom I can convey my concerns, if you want me to continue. But again, before we start answering any questions, I would need 10 minutes to explain myself, and then I will answer all the questions.
This morning, and after having it, you would answer your questions, but you did not. So please leave the courtroom now. We're finished with you today. We will advise registry of his request for an attorney, and that will be supplied, I'm sure. So we will be adjourned until tomorrow morning at 9 a.m.
All rise.